Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel.
Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my Star Wars The High Republic book ranking. This is a video that a lot of people have been requesting on the channel, and this is also one of many videos that I am doing as The High Republic comes to a close. The High Republic series just finished up with Trials of the Jedi. I reviewed that book on the channel. I also did a spoiler review. I don't do spoiler reviews for many books, but I decided to do one this time. So if you want to do spoilers on Trials of the Jedi, go check that video out. But I also have other videos planned. I have this video ranking all the Star Wars The High Republic books, and then I have my video that will be coming out soon, kind of like talking about the good and the bad, talking about what worked in the High Republic, what didn't work. I'm going to be making some reading guides. I have many videos planned. So this is part of my High Republic initiative now that it's done. I've been saving up these videos to make till after it was done because I wanted to be able to be sure. And I wanted to give enough time after the release of Trials of the Jedi to see where it and the other books ended up, but I feel pretty confident with where my ranking is. So I have a lot of books to rank, so I'm only going to be ranking the prose books. I'm not going to include the comics or the manga. So it's just going to be the middle grade books, the young adult books, and the adult books. And so if you include those, and I'm not including the short story thing that was from Titan Books, because that just doesn't fit in well. I'm including like the books from Random House Worlds and Disney Lucasfilm Press, the adult novels and stuff, the middle grade stuff, and the YA stuff. I have a total of 28 titles on this ranking video. I'm not going to go in depth on any of these. I'm just going to say how I felt about it and where it ranks and stuff like that. And so note that I love the High Republic series. There's a lot of it that I really enjoy. There are certain books that are just great all-timer Star Wars books for me. There's also some mediocre books, and there's also some books that I think are pretty bad. And unfortunately, we have to start with the bad. So coming in at number 28 is Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older. This is just a book that I read, and I just didn't understand what was happening. It was such weird decisions are made here. I think bad decisions for characters. It meshed some of the storylines together that in a way that I think it shouldn't have. And so I was very unsatisfied with this book, and I just did not think it was a good book. And I was very disappointed in it. So that's Midnight Horizon. That's number 28. My number 27 is going to be the middle grade book, Quest for Planet X. This is a book that frustrated me to no end. For one, because there's a lot of character stuff I did not care for in this book. For a second reason, the plot of this book to me was pointless. The characters in this book are intending to find Planet X. And now that I've finished The High Republic, and of course now that everyone's read it, you know what the Planet X is and the importance of it. But you start and end the book in the same place. The characters do not make a substantial discovery. They do not make a substantial step forward. They do not gain anything. The character of Rupa Natani is like the one good thing about this book. I do like her character, but this is just not a good book, and I'm so frustrated by its existence. And I was like, come on, you're giving the middle grade a bad name here. So that's my number 27. My number 26 is another YA. You'll notice that the YA and middle grade stuff tends to be lower, and the adult stuff is at the top, but there's a few stuff that makes it further up. But my number 26, is a YA, Out of the Shadows by Justina Ireland. Justina can turn in some good books, as you'll find out later on in this video, but this was not one of them. I did not like Silvestri Yarrow. I did not care for the way that Vern was written in this book. I didn't really care for the way that any of the characters were written in the book. I also didn't feel that the plot was that engaging, and I actually felt that it paid stuff off in this book that should not have been in this book, should have been the adult stuff. And it feels kind of, if you're reading only the adult stuff, there's a plot line that is almost entirely in the adult stuff and then just happens to jump here and is resolved here, and it just did not work. And I was very frustrated by it. So that's Out of the Shadows. My number 25 is a book that I'm just like, why? But why? And that is Daniel Jose Older's Race to Crash Point Tower. It is the shortest of the books here. It's only like 198 pages. It's super short for a middle grade book. And the story it tells is very inconsequential. There's one character in this book that is used in Phase 3 a little bit, so he's a little bit more important, and he also shows up in one of the other Phase 1 books. But like, this book was really, I felt it was trying to mesh middle grade stuff, and it was also trying to bring in stuff from the comics, and it didn't work. It fell flat. It's unmemorable. It's not a book that you remember. The story in this book is basically told in the adult books, and it's told much better in those. And so that's why this comes in at number 25. Number 24 is a book that I actually reviewed very well, and over time, it's very much diminished in my opinion. That's the problem with reviewing a book, within like a day or so of reading it, is because sometimes I feel a certain way finishing a book, and then over time, there's one book on here that I finished, wasn't super high on, and then ended up liking it a lot more afterwards. This is the reverse. This is a case of I read it, liked it, don't care for it so much now. And that is Quest for the Hidden City. This is a fine book. We've moved out of the bad category. That was the bad category we just did. This is it's fine. There's nothing great about it. It's not a terrible book, but it's not memorable. It's not great. This book is just a fine, entertaining story. Your kid might like it, reading it. For adults, you're not going to get too much out of this. So, yeah. My number 20 and 20. Where am I at? That was 24. So this will be 23. My number 23 is Path of Vengeance by Karen Scott. This is an okay book. It is essentially the epilogue of Phase 2, and it tries to bridge some of the story and prepare you for Phase 3. It also is trying to kind of tie up some stuff from the beginning of Phase 2 as a bookend, because the YA books were the bookends of Phase 2, and it accomplishes enough that it's competent. It's a competent book. It's not a great book. It's a competent book. And so I felt it was way too long. This one is like 500 pages. It did not need to be 500 pages. This book should have been cut down substantially. There's not much story. It's a lot of character drama in this, and it's just not great character drama. So unfortunately, my Path of Vengeance is only at number 23. It's better than the previous books I talked about. Continuing in the meh, it's fine category, we have Justina Ireland's A Valiant Vow, the final middle grade in the High Republic. This has a few redeeming qualities to it. I particularly liked some of the stuff with one of the Hutt characters, and I also liked some of the stuff with the main Jedi character, Imri, but as a whole, it's a very unmemorable book. Moving into, there's some redeeming stuff in these books. That was my number 22, so this is my number 21 is Escape from Volo. Now, this is by Daniel Jose Older and Alyssa Wong. It's the longest of the middle grade books, and this actually is the first time I was like, this is when the middle grade books actually kind of stepped up a little bit. I felt that they expanded the story. I felt like they told a full story in this book. I felt like it felt the epicness that it needed to, and also it felt it had weight to it that I appreciated. So I did like a lot about this book. There's also just a lot of, I don't care for that. There's a character in here, and I'm just like, why did you include that character? It felt like it just like slowed down the story too much, added too many. There was also just some character dynamics I just didn't care for. So this book was just it had some good stuff and could have been great, but it was kind of slowed down a little bit. And so that's why that's my number 21. My number 20 is going to be Tales of Light and Life. This is the short story collection. It's got, well, the regular version has 10 short stories, and this version has 11. And they released 2 different versions, and one version had the lightsaber on the cover that looked great, had a great cover, and then the other version had this. And while this cover is a worse cover, the lightsaber version doesn't have the extra story, which, to be honest, the extra story wasn't great. But I wish they had meshed the 2 and just did 11 stories and made this one and made the other one the cover. But anyway, this is some good stories in here. It's not stellar. There's some good stories in here. They're fine. They're good. So yeah, this was, if you're a completionist, it's an important book, but it's not a necessary book necessarily. All right, we've done my number 20. Now to my top 19. My number 19 is going to be Defy the Storm. I think that the YA books for Phase 3 really stepped up. We're generally above the Phase 1 and 2 YAs. There's one Phase 1 YA I still have to get to, but overall the Phase 3 YAs kind of stepped it up a little bit, and this book by Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland I think was actually a pretty entertaining read. So I actually did have a good time with this one. I actually did enjoy this book, and I do like how it tells the story of getting through the storm wall, if you know what that is. So I did really, really enjoy this one. My number 18 is the best YA of Phase 1, which is Into the Dark. Into the Dark is a fine, pretty good YA for Phase 1. I think that if they had kept the main character of Reese Silas the primary of all of the Phase 1 books. He's in all the Phase 1 books, but he's not the primary character of all of them. I feel like that it would have worked better. And his stuff in Phase 3 is great. But this book was very entertaining at the time. I had a good time with it. My number, where am I at? 17 is Tears of the Nameless. Also, another very entertaining YA book. This is an example of, I had a really good time reading it at the time, and now that I've had about 6 months since, I'm like, not at 6 months, this is about a year since this came out, and I'm like, I enjoyed it, but do I remember a lot about it? But I still enjoyed reading this. My number 16 is Path of Deceit. I had really become very disappointed in the YA books, and then when Path of Deceit came out, I was like, this is actually a pretty good start to Phase 2. Ooh, I was not expecting that. So I enjoyed Path of Deceit quite a bit. Has a really terrific ending. Ending of Path of Deceit is really good. All right, what are we at? My number 15 is the first adult book on the list, and what is it? It's a script, and that's Tempest Breaker, the newest script, the last script that Calvin Scott did. And yeah, this is a good script. Wraps up the Lorna D storyline. Some of the characters feel a bit weird in this book. Particularly because this book ties into the comics a lot. Particularly the main Jedi in this book, just really, Avar Kriss just feels odd in this book. But the Lorna D stuff is just great. Lorna D is definitely Cavan's character, and he does a good job with her. My number 14 is going to be Beware the Nameless. A book that I was in no way expecting to be delightful, and was delightful. The character of Churro the Hutt should not work, but absolutely works in this book. A Hutt good guy is great to read, and I really enjoyed his character. And some of the other characters in this book are great. I wish that they had been a little bit more focused on certain characters than others in these books, but still, this was a charming, delightful book that I really actually enjoyed. We're getting some good stuff here. We have my number 13 is Temptation of the Force by Tessa Gratton. This was a book that actually, I really enjoyed it, but it was lower in my estimation when I initially read it, and this one it went up a little bit. I did actually really enjoy, especially the love story. I saw some people panning it, being like, "Oh, it's just a romance." It's like, it's more than that. And I think the romance is really well written here. I think Attack of the Clones fans will particularly enjoy this book. All the stuff on Naboo is great. What brings this book down is some of the stuff with the Blight, which I think was the weaker element of the book. but it was still a really delightful book. Number 12 is going to be the Phase 1 script, Tempest Runner, which it bothers me that it's purple spine, but the other one's not a purple spine. And anyway, Tempest Runner. I actually really enjoyed this script quite a lot. It's a fun script. Is it consequential? Not a ton. It's not really consequential, but it is a blast of a ride, and it's a really fun read, and I really enjoyed it. But it's time to talk about the best YA book of the High Republic, and that's coming in at number 11. Coming in at number 11 is the best YA book, and that's going to be Into the Light, the newest and last YA book. Finally, the YA books stepped up in the way I wanted them to. It's not that long, so it's not like I was asking for length. I was asking for a more adult story. And this was a time where Claudia Gray actually gave us a much more adult story. And I feel like what she gave us is what we were wanting in the YA books the whole time. It wraps up stuff from the first YA book, Into the Dark. It wraps up stuff that in the High Republic that leads us directly into Trials of the Jedi. I think it is a terrific last book, and I was very pleased with what I got. So that's my number 11. My number 10 is going to be A Test of Courage. This is a book I thought was fine when it came out, and I've re-listened to it a little bit and rethought about it. I actually loved this book. I actually really like the direction that Justina Ireland took for Enestra in this book, and I really like just the way that she built the High Republic with the others at the beginning, and I think that this book really works well over time. This is one, some books go down over time. This is one of those that went up over time, and I really enjoyed this book, but it's not the best middle grade. I'll talk about that later. But that's my number 10. My number 9 is going to be Cataclysm, and I'm going to talk about it with my number 8, which is Convergence. Cataclysm and Convergence are the adult novels for Phase 2. Convergence came first. Cataclysm came second. I think Convergence is better because it tells a tighter story. Cataclysm tried to tie in stuff from the middle grade of YA and also tried to tie in stuff from other stuff, so it's a little bit more of a chaotic book. But both books are excellent Phase 2 stories. They tell really expansive, fun stories in here. I really think that Phase 2 on its own, if it didn't have to be compared to Phase 1, would have been delightful. But because we jumped back in time, it makes it, some books have to be lower than others. But these are delightful books and are really fun reads. By the way, it was Lydia Kang and Zoraida Cordova were the authors. All right, where are we at? Number 7 is The Battle of Jedha, the best Phase 2 book. This is the Phase 2 book that I keep coming back to after time. This is the Phase 2 book that really stuck with me. I really enjoyed the story that it told. I really felt like it was the scripts finally feeling really consequential, whereas Tempest Runner was fun, and Tempest Breaker was also fun, but they felt like side stories. This was a continuation of the main story that I really enjoyed. So this is my number 7. And we're about to get into some all-timer books here, some really great books here. My number 6 is a book that I was really harsh on when it came out, and I wish I hadn't been, because the more I get away from the book, the more it works for me, and I wish I could go back and review it more highly, and that's The Fallen Star. For my friends, it's their favorite High Republic book, and given time, I appreciate it a lot more than when I first read it. I think this is a actually terrific book. I think that it really does a great job at shocking the audience as the end of Act 1 of the High Republic. It does a great job setting up Phase 3. It does a great job of doing a who's gonna die type story, and also it's the ultimate idea of what's happening because of look at the title, and if you know the High Republic, you know what that has to mean, and yet you still feel gut punched when it happens. And so I feel like this was a great a great book. So that's my number 6. My number 5 is, in my opinion, the best of the middle grade books, and that is Mission to Disaster. Earlier I talked about how Into the Light from Claudia Gray kind of stepped up and finally gave us what we wanted with the YA books. Well, this was the book that stepped up and gave me what I was looking for in the middle grade books, and it never happened again. We got it one time. We got it right one time, and that's it. This is up there with the best of the High Republic books. That's why it's my number 5. Because I think that Justina Ireland not only told a concise story, told a story that fit the audience of kids. I think that also it was a consequential storyline, and it also was just a fun read. It was just a fun read, and it also had some good themes in it too. So when you balance all that stuff together, this is what a middle grade should look like. I feel like this is the first time that an author just hit everything they were supposed to. Other books hit a lot of stuff. This is only the only book that pretty much hit everything. There's one really small nitpick I have with this book. A really small nitpick. And that's it. Otherwise, I just find it a delightful book. All right, we're in my top 4. This was very hard to figure out which one of these. Not hard. I knew where all these would go, but these are all fantastic books. These are some great, fantastic books coming up here. My number 4 is The Eye of Darkness by George Mann. This is a dark book. It is a terrific book. This is George Mann really getting to come in and leave a mark with his book. He had done books previously. He left a mark with this book. Man, what he does with the occlusion zone, what he does with the storm wall, what he does with Marchion on the cover, what he does with the Jedi and trying to get in and out of the storm wall, what he does visually is just spectacular. And this is a spectacular book, and it's so good, and I thought it would be higher, but there's some even better books coming up. We also have The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. This is another terrific book. This is Cavan Scott. After Light of the Jedi came out, Cavan Scott had to come in and also turn in an excellent book, and it was a high bar for him to see, as you'll find out in a second. But I thought Cavan Scott did a great job with it. I thought that Cavan Scott, the whole Republic Fair, I thought was excellently told. I thought the fights with the Nile were great. I thought that the character work with Stellan, the character work with Elzar, the character work with Bel Zettifar was great here. I think that Cavan Scott really understood the assignment with this book, and this is why this is my number 3. Now we have my top 2. And if you have been doing the math and figuring out, you know which 2 are the top 2, and you'll notice that they're by the same author. And they are the bookends of the High Republic. But we'll start with my number 2. My number 2 is Trials of the Jedi. This is by Charles Soule. This is the final High Republic story. This is the one that pays everything off. This is the High Republic story that had the most writing on it, because this book had to stick the landing in order for the series to have a good legacy. There are some great books in the High Republic, but it had to stick the landing at the end for its legacy to be secure. And this is a superb landing for the High Republic. Charles Soule, the way he writes the Force, the way he writes the characters, the way he writes the plot lines, the way he writes the world building, everything is just great. Now, I do have a nitpick with him on the way he writes the Force in terms of how it's going to affect the canon, but and you can watch my spoiler video if you want to go know more about that. But I still think that this is an incredible book. It paid off everything it needed to. I didn't love every choice made, but I felt every choice made sense. And I thought that Charles Soule just really made me emotional and really paid off everything the way he was supposed to. There's promises and then there's payoffs. This is the ultimate payoff. But the best High Republic book, in my opinion, is still Light of the Jedi, also by Charles Soule. Charles Soule is the best High Republic writer. His 2 books are the top 2 books. And in fact, of the comics and manga I've read, he also wrote the best manga. The best comics with the Marchion Ro comics. So he's the best author in the High Republic, clearly. But Light of the Jedi is the first High Republic book. It's the first adult book. It's the first release day book. Technically, A Test of Courage came out the same day, but this is the first book. It is huge. It is epic. The Great Disaster, beautifully written. The Force, beautifully written. The main characters introduced excellently well. The Nile, excellently introduced. The concept of Starlight Beacon, excellently introduced. Everything about this book was just superbly done. I was very impressed with the way that Charles Soule kicked off the High Republic series. I think that he kicked it off well, he paid it off well, and that's what he needed to have. And so I thought that Light of the Jedi, it's an all-timer canon book for me, and is a great Star Wars book, a great starting point if you've wanted to get into not only the High Republic, but if you just wanted to get into the canon, like, I haven't really read Star Wars books, well, this is a pretty good entry point. So, I loved this book. I think it really just gets what I love about Star Wars and what I'm not even the biggest Jedi reader fan, and I really enjoyed reading about the Jedi in this book. Charles Soule writes Jedi the way I want Jedi to be written. So I loved this book. It is the best High Republic book. And that is my ranking of all the High Republic Star Wars books. If you've read them, whether it's just the adult books, the YA, middle grade, or all of them, let me know what your ranking is in the comments. Also, how crazy am I for some of my placements? I know I'm very low on the middle grade and YA generally. There's some good ones in there, but generally I find them lower than the adult stuff. But let me know your rankings in the comments and let me know what you think of mine. And let me know which High Republic videos you want to see me do. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.